This might be just the best relationship I've ever heard. Happy wife, happy life. Okay, I lied. This is actually the worst, and it's time that we challenge this outdated idea that's been quietly tearing down your relationship from the inside out. So let's get real about something that most people are probably too scared to admit. This happy wife, happy life is a flawed piece of advice that's deeply ingrained in our culture. We've all heard it and maybe we've even lived it. But it sounds harmless, right? Like it's just about being a good partner and keeping the peace. But when you actually look deeper, it's really about suppressing your own needs, desires, and voice to avoid conflict or just to make things easier. Think about it. This mindset encourages you to just be the guy who just goes along to get along, who avoids rocking the boat at any cost. You start to think that your value in the relationship is tied to how much you can sacrifice or how much you can put your partner's happiness before your own. But here's the hard truth. When you do that, you're not building a healthy relationship. You're creating a toxic environment where both you and your partner are set up to fail. You see, when you constantly put your partner's happiness above your own, you lose touch with who you are. You stop being authentic. And when you lose yourself, your partner loses you too. They lose the real, dynamic version of you that they were initially drawn to. And you see, that's where this real disconnect starts to begin. Now let's go a little bit further. So imagine this, right? You're constantly saying yes to things that you don't want to. Whether it's attending parties, events that you hate, pretending to enjoy activities you're indifferent to, or staying quiet when you disagree just to keep the peace. You think you're being supportive, but what you're really doing is actually creating a habit of self-betrayal. And over time, it wears you down. It chips away at your confidence, your joy, your sense of identity, and you become a shadow of the person that you once were. And that resentment, the feeling of being unseen or unheard, it starts to seep into your relationship. You might not even realize it first, but you start to feel disconnected and maybe even resentful. And guess what? Your partner feels it too. They sense that something's off. They notice the distance. They notice the lack of passion, the diminished version of you. And they might even begin to lose respect for you. Not because they're unkind, but because deep down, they crave the real you, the man that they actually fell in love with, not someone who's always bending over backward to avoid conflict. So what's the way out of this mess? Well, it starts with challenging that old narrative, happy wife, happy life. Instead, let's consider adopting a new mantra. Happy me, happy we. This is about balance, a relationship where both people actually matter, where both of you can express your needs, your wants and your desires, your truth. Happy me, happy we is not about being selfish, but it's about showing up as a full, authentic version of yourself and allowing your partner to do the same. It's about creating this dynamic where both partners can actually feel seen, heard and valued, where there is mutual respect, shared growth, and true partnership. By stepping into this new mindset, you acknowledge that a relationship should be a place where both people can thrive, where you can grow together, support each other, and still honor your individual needs and desires. Now, this isn't about one person getting everything that they want, but it's about creating a healthy balance where both people feel fulfilled and respected. Let me give you a few practical examples of what this looks like in real life. So let's say that your partner wants to spend every weekend with their family, but you need some downtime to, say, recharge or pursue your hobbies. Instead of just going along with them to make them happy, you might say something like, hey, I love spending time with your family, but I also need some time for myself to feel balanced and energized. How about we alternate weekends or find a compromise that works for both of us? See, this is about setting boundaries, which is a critical piece of a healthy relationship. When you set boundaries, you're not rejecting your partner, but you're honoring both your needs and theirs. You're saying, hey, I love you, and I also respect myself enough to voice what I need. Now consider another situation. You've been feeling disconnected because your partner always decides how you spend your time together. So instead of silently going along with it, you might say, hey, I'd love to explore some new activities together. I've been feeling a little disconnected and I think it would be great if we both contributed ideas for our dates. How do you feel about that? Notice how this isn't about blame. It's not about accusing your partner of saying or doing something wrong. It's about expressing a desire for more balance and mutual input. It's about fostering an environment where both parties can feel like they're equally invested and involved. Maybe you've been emotionally drained and always being the one who listens and supports, but never feeling heard yourself. Instead of just keeping that bottled up, consider having an honest conversation. I've noticed that I'm often in the role of listening and supporting, and while I love being there for you, I sometimes feel like I don't get to express what's on my mind. Can we create a space for both of us to share and be heard? Now, this opens up a dialogue about emotional needs and creates a two-way flow of communication where both partners have the chance to express themselves fully. This is about building a relationship where there's an equal exchange of emotional support. Now, the reason that this is so important is that it challenges the status quo. It goes against the grain of what we've been taught about relationships, especially as men. See, we're conditioned to be the providers, the protectors, the ones who keep it all together. But the truth is, a healthy relationship isn't about one person giving and the other person always taking. But it's about two people standing shoulder to shoulder, both bringing their whole selves to the table. When you start showing up fully with your needs, your passions, and your boundaries, you create a relationship that's built on real intimacy, respect, and connection. And that right there, that's the foundation of a partnership that actually lasts. Now, here's what I want you to do. Start by challenging the happy wife, happy life narrative in your own relationship. Take a look at the areas where you've been compromising too much, where you've lost touch with your own needs and desires. Have one honest conversation this week, and it could be about anything that matters to you, but something that you've been holding back on. Speak your truth. And now, if you found this video helpful, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more content on building healthier, more balanced relationships, and drop a comment below about how you plan to start showing up more fully in your relationship. Remember, a happy relationship doesn't come from one person constantly sacrificing for the other, but it comes from two people who are whole, fulfilled, and fully alive, building a life together from a place of strength. Let's make that our new standard.